Hey, what's up, everybody? Mr. Guinea here, and I'm going to do a review of this beautiful, gorgeous McLaren 720S that I got to drive over the 4th of July weekend. And I have to say, it was really a phenomenal car. And I think out of all the cars that I've driven, I think this is close to, if not the best car that I've driven. So let's get right into it. So I think the first thing I want to mention is that this car is just extremely gorgeous to look at. Now, when I first saw it online, I wouldn't say I wasn't that impressed with it, but like it just didn't really look as aggressive, say, as the Lamborghini Aventador. And I'm like, okay, how impressive is this car? But seeing it in person, it's gorgeous. And I think when you actually see it in person, you can really see all the lines, all the body lines, and just some of the design work. And then that's when you realize, okay, this is a gorgeous car. So let's kind of talk about this. Like, you see these headlights are the front lights are very very pronounced. I think that kind of also makes it really look aggressive. Also, one thing I didn't really take into account were some of these the two air vents, the two vents on the front of the car. That really makes a huge difference. It makes it look more aggressive. So let's kind of walk around here a little bit. So you'll notice look at the bodywork on the chassis. Just look at that that little there's a little dip over there, for lack of a better term, air duct, I suppose. But in any case, just look at this bodywork here. That also makes the car aggressive. And you also notice it kind of looks like it's kind of aiming downward slightly. So again, it also makes the car really just kind of look better. And then one other thing I want to mention. So this color, I believe, is Supernova Silver. So again, when I saw the car online, I'm like, silver. I would rather have a car that, maybe was like a yellow or a red or something that stands out more. But actually, this silver does stand out, especially with the brake calipers being like that fluorescent green. It's gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. Okay, let's kind of go inside let's do the interior now. So I'm gonna pop the door here. So you'll notice, the first thing you'll notice is the leather interior. So this car, it comes in what's called a luxury mode, luxury spider and performance spider. So this one probably is the luxury one because of the leather. If this was the performance one, these seats would be Alcantara. I kind of prefer the performance because I like the like the Alcantara seats. They're a little bit more race looking, and also there's also a lot more carbon fiber too. So I think that's kind of what I would prefer. But still, this interior is really, really beautiful. So again, kind of compared to the Lamborghini, like the Huracan, for example, you kind of have the console kind of up on here, so it's looks a little bit more refined and a little bit more pronounced and dramatic, almost kind of similar to the Aventador. The Aventador has that really pronounced, kind of almost horizontal looking console. This one here is very simplistic. It's just kind of vertical. It's a nice design. It's a really, really nice design. How you have like this button display here sticking out, and then you also have room kind of over here just for maybe your phone or maybe your key fob or what have you. So I really do like the design of this. It's simplistic, but yeah, it's still elegant. So one downside is that you really don't have a glove box here. So that's kind of, a little annoying. But you do have this. Let's see if I can open this up over here. But you do have a compartment over here, so you can put maybe your keys here, or like my mom, she was in the car and she had the keys for her car and everything, and her phone. She could put some of that in that little compartment over there. So that's very convenient. And one other thing, you actually have two cup holders too. You have one over here and one back there. So I think just for an exotic car, especially one at this level, I think there's a lot of little kind of creature comforts here. Just having two cup holders here is really, really convenient. And then over here you push this latch down here and open this up, and then here you have your USB ports over here, so that's also very convenient too. And you also have a little bit of space also for some other items. So if we kind of get a little closer over here to the console, you can see some of the different driving modes here. So you have comfort, sport, and track, and they provide different driving experiences. One I believe is for, I think, performance, the others for powertrain. I'm just kind of doing this off the top of my head. I got to return this car pretty soon. And then if you hit the active mode, that puts it in manual. And actually, I think it's better to drive this car in manual. I actually think it's better for the car. And I'm going to get into that in later part of this video. So I just want to talk about these lights a little bit. One other thing, at nighttime, this whole light here just kind of illuminates. and it just looks gorgeous at night. So I think that even really further brings out just how pronounced and just how, I'll just say, sexy these lights are. And then you look at this front splitter over here, again, just kind of adds to the aggressiveness of the car. I got the doors up now, so let's I'm gonna take this in a separate take. So, you know, before we go for a drive, I thought it was worth just kind of getting a video of the car with the doors up. Again, it just, this car just screams attention. You know, it just, you know, for me, the just talking about Lamborghini again, because I'm a Lamborghini person, but anyway, like the Huracan, I think it doesn't quite scream for attention as much. It's still a really nice looking car, but you know, I just think you know, I think the Aventador, for example, really screams attention with the way it looks. That's actually my favorite looking car. But this one here, again, seeing it in person, seeing this car with the doors up, and then just seeing, just again, taking into account just the aggressive lines and design of the chassis, and also with the rear spoiler up. Yeah, this car also screams for attention, and it's just gorgeous and stunning to look at. And just the doors up like that, it's just, the car is just, it's swag. Again, just, you know, for lack of a better term, I'm just gonna say swag. Okay, so right now I'm just sort of testing the multicam right now. So I have this this is called the remote, and with this remote you're able to control 2 GoPros at once, like multiple GoPros. So I'm just testing this out right now. So the GoPro that's mounted to my windshield, looks like that's recording pretty well, and it looks like the orientation is set right, so I got a decent view. And then the one on my head, I don't really know how that is, so I'm gonna go and check that out right now. All right, here we go. So I'm gonna go ahead and start it up. Let's do that right now. Oop, didn't start. Start again. Yeah, sounds nice. It's loud. It's kind of loud. It has, you know, it's a flat plane V8, so it's kind of a smoother sound as opposed to, say, the cross plane 8 that you see in most muscle cars, that you hear in most muscle cars rather. You know, it's different, but it sounds nice. All right, so let's get going now. All right, so I'm gonna put it in drive now, and take off the brake, and let's go. So I think the first thing I want to talk about is what do you call it? Yeah, the first thing I kind of want to talk about is, you know, you can drive this car in auto. So right now this car is driving in auto, and you can kind of hear it shifting, and then you can't really tell now, but what I don't like about driving in auto is that just the computer defaults to a higher gear, and I suppose that's just to reduce wear and tear on the engine, and also maybe perhaps for you know, for fuel preservation. But you know what I don't like about it, is you just hear kind of a low sound. You hear a low humming sound. I just get the feeling that's not really good for the engine. So even though that's maybe the way it was designed, I just suspect, just my own intuition, and it's kind of, I admit it's kind of a layman's opinion, that driving it automatic in town is not the best for the engine. It's actually better to drive it manual. So you hear that? I mean, I don't think that's too egregious, but just when I was driving this car, it just sounded like it was in too high a gear, and to me it just didn't sound right. So you know, when you first start driving, you know, it goes through your gear progressions and progressions rather in automatic pretty well. But listen to it now. All right, it doesn't sound too bad. I'm gonna slow down a little bit here. All right, maybe it's not too bad, but I know when I was driving, I just noticed that. Okay, I'm gonna try to go a little faster. Okay, yeah, here we go. If you hear it now, it's right on the borderline where it's almost like just the RPMs are just too low, and I just kind of wonder if that's really healthy for the engine. You know, again, I'm speaking from a layman's point of view, so I can't say I know this for certain. So, you know, any of you watching this can certainly correct me if I'm mistaken, but I'm just gonna go ahead and say it just, to me, just in my own intuition, I don't like the way it sounds at that low frequency hum. I just think that it's better to drive it in manual. So that's what I'm gonna do. So basically, if you put it in active mode, I put it in active, and now it just switches to manual. So now I'm gonna shift it down to 3rd gear. I think this sounds better. I just think it sounds a little smoother, and it's a little bit better on the engine. Now when you're driving in town, you probably don't want to have it go too high, because again, you're going through gas, and then maybe that's going to increase wear and tear on the engine. The engine's working a little bit harder when you're going at a higher RPM. So I shift up. I try to keep it somewhere around 2,000 RPMs when I'm driving in town. I just think that's best for the engine. All right, stop the car real quick. So when you're in Seattle City, you're supposed to yield to pedestrians. That's basically the, you know, kind of the rule here. All right, I'm gonna stop this real quick. So sorry, so what I was saying earlier is, you know, when you're in Seattle City, you know, you gotta yield to pedestrians. And one kind of thing about this town, I'm getting a little off topic now, but one thing about this town is, you know, it's small. You have this one street, there's a lot of cars parallel parked. It is very hard to see pedestrians coming out. So you might have to stop all of a sudden. So a car like this is gonna be kind of more wear and tear on the car. So that might be a better reason to drive it in automatic, I suppose. Again, I just choose to drive it in manual. I just think it's better, and it's just better. I think it's better if you just try to control the car yourself and listen to the engine sound of the car. I just think it's a little bit healthier for the car that way, and I think it makes you more in tune with the car as well. So I'm going to shift it down in the first gear. I'm just going to keep going straight. I could let this guy go, but anyway, all right. So what else can I say? So anyway, so yeah, this car feels like, in terms of how this car feels, it feels pretty good. I know it doesn't tell you much, but you know, it definitely feels very low to the ground. The ride doesn't feel too bumpy. It's kind of, when you go over potholes, obviously it does feel kind of bumpy, and that's not surprising. It kind of reminds me of like this older 80 Vet that my mom had back in the day. It just feels like a car. It's a exotic performance car. I mean, Vets technically aren't really exotic, but anyway, I think you know what I'm trying to say. It just feels like a really high-end sports car. It just, you know, it's not meant for comfort. You go over a pothole, you're gonna feel it. Now, in terms of other cars, the Lamborghini, for example, the Huracan, does not feel as low to the ground as this. This car feels lower to the ground than you know, than the Huracan does, and it does feel a little bit bumpier than the Huracan, in my opinion. I think the Huracan's kind of a more refined ride, and the steering feels a lot lighter. In this car, the steering feels a little bit heavier than a Huracan. It feels kind of like a go-kart, like kind of like a stiff go-kart, a little bit. But you know, this car is absurdly fast, and it's way faster than the Huracan. So I'm going to change the subject here a little bit. I'm going to talk a little bit about just kind of my channel and just kind of the intent of my channel. I know, you know, I post some videos, and you know, why I try to keep everything in terms of cars, the topic to be of cars. You know, my last couple of videos were more about just people being in the car and just getting to experience the car. So I guess where I'm going with this is this, you know, I think, you know, part of my channel is not only about just talking about different cars, just putting up shorts of various cars, exotics, classics, muscle cars, but you know, I think for me, at least when I rent these cars, a lot of these cars I rent, or you know, maybe when I own one day, a lot of it is about the experience of other people and how other people are impacted by seeing me in the car, seeing the car, and maybe getting to experience the car. I guess where I'm going with this is this, you know, I mean, I think for my channel, I want people to have a positive experience when they come across this car, you know, when they come across me, you know, how I interact with them. And I guess I kind of say this for several reasons, but one I want to draw upon is this. You know, sometimes exotic car owners can be like kind of snobby, you know, maybe they're a little finicky about people being around the car and everything like that. I'm not an exotic car owner yet. I think I might be one day, because I love cars very much. But you know, I kind of want to come across as someone that I just basically want to share my joy and love with cars, and I just kind of get a general enjoyment out of people being happy, you know, when they sit in the car, and I just kind of see how excited they are when they're in the car. It's just awesome to see that, because that's kind of the same experience I had when I was a kid. When I first sat in the Lamborghini Countach, when I was at the, I think it was the Valley Forge Convention car show at the convention center, Valley Forge Convention Center. This was way back, I think late 80s maybe. Just sitting in the Lamborghini Countach, it was so uncomfortable, by the way. God, it was so exciting just sitting in that car. And I think maybe that's kind of why I just kind of want to share that. I want other people to have that experience too. So whenever anyone comes in and sits in the car, and I do the, you know, I start recording and I'm going to put it on my channel, you know, I do want to capture their joy as well. Because again, I think it's all about kind of promoting something positive, promoting, you know, a positive experience. And I think these cars just kind of bring something out in people. I think people get really excited. They love these cars. I mean, these cars are a statement. And, you know, I think it's really positive, and it's something that I just kind of want to share, and I enjoy sharing with other people. All right, so we're about to leave town now, so I'm going to park the car, and I want to get some other footage. I want to get some POV footage. So that's what I'm going to try and do, actually. So I'm going to try to find a place to park somewhere if I can. And it's very hard to do that in Seattle City because it's ridiculously crowded. Some people are leaving. I'm going to see if I can park on the side somewhere. I'm going to try to make this light real quick. All right. All right, so I'm going to park over here. So perfect, I'll do that.
All right, stop it here real quick.
Alright everyone, that's a wrap. Hope you enjoyed the video. I'm going to have some POV footage posted soon, so certainly stay tuned for that. But anyway, yeah, if you like the content, go ahead, hit like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.